Now, as we continue to pay tribute to the actors, we're now joined by the creator and producer of Generations Mfundi Vundla. Menzi Ngubane played the role of Sbusiso Dlhomo for many years. And now let's just get a sense of the relationship as I welcome Ntate Vundla. A very good morning to you. Thank you for your time. What an incredible time frame. A relationship that must have spanned over a decade. Talk to us about who Menzi Ngubane was.
I had a profound professional relationship with Menzi. I worked with Menzi on 3 projects, and over a span of about 10 to 12 years. The first time I worked with Menzi was in the series Generations, wherein I created a character called Ngamla. And what struck me about Menzi was his great professionalism. You know, he'd come to set prepared. He knew his lines. You know, the way he brought out good performances for himself, and he would extract good performances from other actors. And I also worked with Menzi on a film, Country of My Skull, which starred Samuel L. Jackson and Juliette Binoche. And that film was in competition at the Berlin Film Festival. And again there, an independent voice like Samuel L. Jackson, really admired Menzi's craft because they had a lot of scenes together. In fact, yesterday when I saw in the news that Menzi had passed, I sent Samuel L. Jackson a text message informing him of this. And he responded and said, you know, it's funny, 2 days ago I was thinking of him. And then he asked me what happened. And I told him, I have no idea. And that I would get back to him once I found out. And the third project I worked with Menzi Ngubane was a feature film with Menzi in the lead and Terry Petro, and with my son Charlie Vundla directing it. The film How to Steal 2 Million. That was another project I worked with Menzi, and so in a way I had a comprehensive sort of professional relationship with Menzi, and which was a great privilege.
And what are your recollections as you look back? You've spoken about his incredible art and love and passion for any role that you give him, but Menzi Ngubane, the person, the human element, what do you recall?
Well, I saw Menzi through I saw the personal in Menzi through his craft, and and when you look at an artist such as Menzi, you look at him in respect to other artists you have known of similar talent, and I mean, like, Menzi was one of the best South African actors out there. I mean, he ranks with Zakes Mukai, he ranks with Vusi Kunene, and I mean, he did well playing against Samuel L. Jackson, and and the man, talk about personal, like, I mean, an actor prepares, you don't just walk on set, and you're ready, he came prepared, I've seen actors come on set unprepared. Sometimes they don't know their lines, and they waste time, and there's cost overruns and things like that. Not with Menzi. Menzi was always prepared, and he hit the ground running. I mean, that was and he had incredible talent. I mean, our genre is driven by what the dialogue, but it's also driven by the image, like it's a moving image, you know. So the understanding of the character doesn't just come from dialogue, but it comes from the visual dialogue. The expression on an actor's face sometimes tells you more than just dialogue, you know. And Menzi had all of that.
Absolutely. I mean, as you speak and describe this incredible talent, you know, detailing your experiences on the 3 big projects that you worked on him, one of the projects, Generations, was when you essentially fired him and his cast members. What do you recall about that time?
Well, you know, that was like a painful period, you know, and it was a sad period, and it was like a family feud, if you see what I mean.
Yes.
And at times very acrimonious, but you know, one rises above that because, in a way, both of us were right, you know, but we never got to be enemies. I was never enemies with Menzi, neither was he enemies with me. We just had a disagreement.
I mean, you essentially could have been part of Menzi Ngubane's family with the decade, well, a relationship spanning over a decade. What would you say to his family at this time?
What I'd say to his family is that, you know, I was enriched by Menzi's life. I grew as a producer and a creative person, and I count myself as highly privileged to have known him. And you know, there are people who come through your life. You know, some people don't. You know, they just come and they just pass through. You know, but there are people who pass through your life and make a difference on your life. Menzi was such a person. He's one of those actors, I mean, one of those professionals I've come across in my profession who have made a difference in my professional life. I mean, I'm talking about Menzi, Vusikunene, Sila Magaganobe, Florence Masebe, Katlego Danke, the whole, Samuel L. Jackson. You know, those people pass through your life, you know, and they make an impact on your life. And I want to convey my condolences and thanks to the Ngubane family, and I say, like it calls,
very well. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us and telling us about an incredible man who had a love for his art, for his craft. Of course, speaking to the creator and producer of Generations Mfundi Vundla about Menzi Ngubane.